Hey YouTube believers, Chris Mack coming at you with X-Calibre number 2. This is part 19 of the Age of Apocalypse event that we've been going through. And man, do I forget how good this series was. When I was younger, I said this in the last review, that I didn't know a whole lot about X-Men lore. So a lot of the stuff that Warren Ellis pulls out in this series, I was just kind of like, But again, years later, going back and reading it and actually understanding more of the plot, this issue, good though it may be, is bone-chilling. The print date on this was April 1995. And what I find really special about this issue in particular, you open it, and I think this is the only Age of Apocalypse book that gives you kind of a recap so you're not lost. And he being Warren Ellis here really does a good job of building up the stakes and everything else that's going on. And I like how here, after going through why Nightcrawler is going to Avalon, it says to effect this, Darkholme, Kurt Wagner, has begun a dangerous journey along the refugee pipeline from America to Antarctica and the secret mutant refuge of Avalon, where his mother ferries the survivors to its shores. Burn. And then just the simple black with this really being emphasized, that is some great composition there. So, people responsible for this book: Warren Ellis writer, Roger Cruz and Renato RLM pencils, with help from Charles Mota and Eddie Wagner, Phil Moy, Tom Vergezen and Harry Candelaria doing the inks, Joe Rosas and Digital Chameleon doing the colors, Richard Starkins and Comicraft letters, Suzanne Gaffney editor, and Bob editor was Harris-in-Chief. Bob Harris was editor-in-chief. So yeah, just really like that opening one. And so we come to Avalon, and this is supposed to be the refuge, and it's in flames. And this just, boom, right off the start, you are sucked in, stakes are happening, and you're like, why is Avalon on fire? And it has something to do with Switchback, whom we were introduced to last issue. So this is Switchback from Detroit, who migrated, gave up everything that she was to come here. This is Kane, and this is Destiny. Destiny in the 616 universe, is most Marvel, longtime readers know, Destiny has the clairvoyancy to see the future and how it can change as things differ from what she envisions. And then, before we can even get any more into that, that just kind of is like the icing, the tip of the iceberg. It sets you up. And then we come back to the, what's this place called? Greenpoint, where Thunderbird was doing the ghost dance. The Magi have found them thanks to Danny from last issue, meaning Danny Moonstar, who is a snitch for Apocalypse. And so we get a really good moment here with John Proudstar. I don't want to spoil everything that happens. And then we jump into the X-Calibre submarine. And this is where the refugees, the submarine's already taken off. They're underwater. The electrical has gone out. Everybody is dying from carbon monoxide. I think that's right. Because Kurt says here, we're choking to death in our own exhalations. So you're just kind of like, whoa. Because we have everything going on with Destiny. The fight with John Proudstar, and then all of a sudden, all these people on the submarine are dying. You just boom, 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 rapid fire with all the stakes and action going on, and the drama. You just want to turn the page. And so everyone finds out that they have to go above water, and everyone's like, well, what are we gonna do? What if Apocalypse finds us? Are we out of range? Sensors are out. The electricity's to let the people out of the hold is out. So they have to throw up a flare and hope for the best. And then this is where we're introduced to this world's Callisto. Callisto in the main universe is the leader of the Morlocks, or if you want to get technical, second in command to Storm of the Morlocks. But she works on the high seas. Everyone on the X-Calibre thinks that they've found their salvation to continue their journey to Avalon. And what I like here, this really kind of is a far cry from the Kurt Wagner that we know. We see him on the top of the resurfaced submarine, and it says outside, Kurt Darkholm is a teleporter. It nearly killed him, waiting until the sub broke water before escaping the cargo bay death trap. He hated leaving the refugees to die in their own stench, but he had the strength to pour it out every one of them. His instinct was to save them, and their memory of their faces puts cracks in his heart. But it had to be done. He has a greater mission, upon which more than 100 souls depend on him. Whew. So yeah, remember, this is wartime. Now, they'll say I was only either following orders or for the greater good. So in this case, Nightcrawler is going after Destiny so that she can verify Bishop's memories that there is an alternate timeline which would wipe out everything that they've lived in. So he has to survive. And it's just chilling to have to make that type of decision, you know what I mean? Just... And then we go back to Damask, who was the villain in this book. And you come to find out that Danny is sitting there while Damask is talking to Apocalypse. So Danny Moonstar, Mirage, New Mutants, is sitting there slicing up on Wade Wilson, Deadpool. So while Damask is doing all essentially the grown-up stuff, Danny's back here just doing the slicing Wade up, and then his healing factor kicks in. So that's just sick. Damask says, trailing these morons and waiting a dog's age for them to get moving again is bad enough, without you attempting to play the disappearing graffiti trick with razors and Wade's healing factor. Oh man, this universe, the people that we know and love, Danny in particular, and they're so warped and twisted. It is. So anyway, something happens with Damask. I don't want to give that away. And so Callisto here says that, all the refugees are in good hands. But, yeah, I like the way, her eye kind of looks at him. The way the X-Calibre looks here, because it sort of leaves it open to interpretation. Did the captain go to get repairs, or... It leaves it open-ended, because you see smoke here, you see smoke there. So you're just kind of, And with that said, this panel gives me the chills. I don't want to give away what happens here, but when you read it in its entirety, your heart sinks and it hurts. And what's more sickening is, they do this in a story, but there are people that do stuff like this. But that's just a very bone-chilling, harrowing panel to look at. Same here on the ship where the thing says X'd from society. And you see this atrocity zone. That is rough. And yeah, I don't want to give any more about this book away, other than the fact that I'm glad that at a point we finally get Mystique in the story. And so that's very much a welcomed addition. And I can't wait to read issue 3. So yeah, what's kind of funny is I posted the first review of issue 1. And there's a lot of people who's like, man, I don't remember X-Calibre coming out back in the day. And the same here, again, I wasn't too big on X-Men lore when I first started. And so I picked this up because it was part of the event, but it was one of those ones that I kind of considered, whatever. But going back now, knowing that this is Warren Ellis writing, and along with the art team, oh man, this was a great story. And it feels removed from everything that's going on in Apocalypse America. So it just kind of has its own chance to breathe and stretch its legs. And it kind of feels like Warren Ellis is trying to do some different things. That is very much a welcomed addition into this comic series. Now, with that said, if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen in this review, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and pick up this series if they still have it in stock. And again, if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you can possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little X bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys can get notified. Come to the channel, and we love to just talk with y'all, hear your feedback, and have a dialogue with you down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.